So I want to preface this video by saying that the next part of Fatal Attraction is Uncanny X-Men 303. We've already gone over that book, and so on the playlist, I'll make sure to put everything in chronological order. But I did not want to reread it. It's an excellent issue, but you know how sometimes you'll get that one book that just hits you emotionally, and it's hard to revisit because you know what type of feelings you're going to get. It's for spoilers if you haven't read it, just heads up, it is the death of Ileana by the legacy virus. And we see Peter break down. Like, just to kind of build up what's going to be happening here. Hold on, let me find. Or should I say the last one was X-Force? Okay, so it's been a while. I get confused. Nobody's perfect. Hold on. Where is it? We got X-Factor. Hold on. It's back here. Okay. Here. Where is it with losses? That's what we're looking for right now, y'all. Lee. Okay, so the X-Men just come back from a mission. Peter knows that Ileana's sick. And Peter just rushes up saying, well, everyone is gathered here. Who's looking after my sister? If I can't trust any of you to attend to her needs in my absence, then perhaps I should not leave her in your care. We see Kitty and Moira and Xavier just, Peter, son, I'm sorry. We did everything we could. The big guy didn't make a sound. No reaction at all. Sob. Didn't punch anybody. Didn't even. And let's get into Peter's headspace right now. So, in the span of all this, his brother Mikhail had committed suicide, I believe. Both of his parents had died. All he had left was Ileana. She started getting sick as we saw this arc progress. So I just wanted to kind of make that clear as we go into this next part of Fatal Attraction. So this is 304, an offer of salvation, a betrayal. Again, I've said this before, but I love that the collected trade here does the wraparound, but it doesn't do it justice without the actual holographic card, which as you can see, it's Magneto. Beautiful cover, surprisingly by John Romita Jr. And so we open up, of course, on the Acolytes. Something less than 5 minutes ago, the Acolytes, faithful followers of the mutant master of magnetism, Magneto learned the truth about the death of their personal savior. So they're all wrapped around Cortez. Death is too good for him. I agree, brother. We should see that he suffers first. Uniscone. Carcel, I order you. Shut up, Cortez. You're in no position to be demanding anything. We're no longer your mindless flock. Save your breath. For the screams I intend to tear from your lungs. They didn't take it well. But we can see that, even though Cortez was a manipulator, he is strong. With my ability to extend other mutants' powers, is a simple matter for me to extricate myself from Uniscone's psychic grip. But at this point, they've all fallen under the leadership of Exodus, who at this point we don't know a whole hell of a lot about. His first appearance was X-Factor 92 and then X-Force 25. And now he's showing up here and he goes, perhaps, Cortez, it's because they sense what you already know in your heart, that I am not a stranger at all. Rather, I am the voice of Magneto. I am Exodus, so named by Magnus himself. For I am the guide by which mutants will rise from the genetic quagmire that is humanity. I offer a sojourn unto paradise for all those that are faithful in thought and deed to Magneto's cause. So Cortez is desperately trying to save his ass, but we see how powerful Exodus is. Now, while that's going on, this is in the aftermath of Ileana's death. And I remember when I first read this as a kid, I didn't really know who Ileana was, but I understood that someone had passed, and it was weighing heavy on Charles. And I just love this use of the mirror, the redness, just the slight redness under the eyes. It has only happened twice in his life that Charles Xavier has not recognized the reflection in the mirror. The The first was on the afternoon he realized with startling certainty he was different from anyone else he'd ever known. Long before he'd ever heard the word mutant, it was painfully clear his incredible mind set him apart from those around him, alone in the crowd. The second time was when he woke on a wind-swept morning far off Tibet and realized he would never walk again. While the face was the same, for a time, that he was somehow less than a person for his handicap. Finally, on this morning, it is another emotion that has twisted and contorted his features, both inside and out. For on this morning, he has to bury Ilyana Rasputin, an innocent child who trusted him. On this day, he is a face marred by failure. That is a quick way to get into all of this. Now, I miss these 90s splash pages like this. I just thought they were so intense. But what it is the Landra visits him. He goes, "Greetings, my lord. Your pain, your devastation has reached across the galaxy to embrace my soul in a grip of ice. And my responsibilities to the Shi'ar Empire demand my presence. Please allow this holographic image to offer what little solace in space and distance might allow. Landra, I'm afraid I fell short of being worthy of your kindness." So she says, "Tell me what happened. I lost one of my own children of the atom. Unlike Thunderbird or Cypher, Warlock, Ilyana was a child who had every right to believe in me, and I failed her." And she tries to say, "I know in my heart of hearts that you did the right thing for her. I know Charles Francis Xavier well enough to know that you did everything you could. And in the end, that is all any one of us could ever do." And as the the link starts to deteriorate, he says, "Not alone, Melandra. I've been alone since the day I realized I was different, and that my mutation meant I had a responsibility. I possessed a power which allowed me to unhampered access to any mind on the planet, their hopes and fears. In order to maintain my sanity, I had to shut down, close off a large portion of my mind. No, my love, I will always be alone." So this is a very heavy, heavy issue in that regard. So we see how, in Charles's own way, he is alone. We cut to Avalon, where again, there's another character who is also alone. When the acolytes called, what does it say? When the acolyte called Chrome transmutated this man's critical wounded body into Omium, ensuring he'd survive the fiery crash to Earth, his benefactor died so that he may live. But far more unlikely, it all changed on the night decades earlier when he lost the one great love of his life. The only thing he ever truly created in a life that has since, it seems, been nothing more than death and destruction. True, it's destruction in the same way that a blank canvas is scarred by a swath of paint, but it is destruction nonetheless. That much, at least, his need to destroy in order to create, for better or for worse, changed. And so I just love here, both visually and narratively, we see that they are essentially two sides of the same coin, as everyone has kept saying. And so we just see the juxtaposition in two quick pages. And then I love, there's like several artists, which they have not given us the credit page yet, but I love how they use different artists for different emotions. So this cuts back to when he escaped the concentration camps from the Nazis, and his firstborn is killed. And it talks about how when he was a child, his mutant ability didn't hit because he had a disease. Where was it? Oh, it's too much to go. I don't want to read all of this because I want you guys to read it. But essentially, it was something like tuberculosis or something that it hindered his X gene from activating when he was younger to be able to save everyone. So when it hit when he was older, he goes, "For I have been a victim of whims, the cruelties, the atrocities of man since the moment of my birth. But now I've been reborn in a body that has nothing but power. I am serving notice on your precious humanity, but I will never yield." And so we see kind of what made Eric Magnus Lynchier who he is. And so we're thinking, okay, heaviness. And we think that we're going to get a moment of levity with Kitty Storm, but she realized that Peter has got this huge funeral pyre going. She goes, Peter, no, what are you doing? I would think, Katia, the answer is obvious. I'm getting on with my life. Rather, what passes for a life without my sister, my brother, my parents. How? By physically destroying your past? By trying to erase that part of you that can still create, that can capture hearts and souls on a canvas? Do you really believe it's that easy? No, Katia, I do not believe that anything is more. But if you feel that strongly about this work, take it. I feel that strongly. What about you, Peter? You've barely spoken a word since Ileana died. What are you feeling? And I just love this use of negative colors. Nothing. And she tries to embrace him. He's just literally a man of cold steel. And now what's interesting is we come to the part where there's like this. I don't know. I don't know the right words here. Let's talk about that on Xavier's land. There's an old church that they built up so that they could do Ileana's funeral, and it's Bishop and Banshee working on it together. And freaking Bishop, because he's a man at a time, he goes, he doesn't understand the use of funerals. Ah, quite the sentimental lad. Are you? Are you being sarcastic? Aye, aren't you? Or are you going to tell me then that your future life just goes steamrolling on ahead, that nobody takes the time to mourn the passing of a friend? You make it all so tempting. Such a warm and tender place. It's a wonder you made the backwards trek in the first place. You sound as if you don't believe I'm from your future, Sean. Perhaps I. Now, listen, this is important because I love how Scott Liddell, I don't know if he did it consciously or if it was intentionally laying the seeds for future events. Perhaps I should tell you what little I know of your fate. How it was long rumored amongst the halls of the XSC that you were the last hope, the custody of the next generation. And Sean cuts him off and he goes, and perhaps I should go leap in front of a bus, Bishop. Then your little stories from the future, your best laid plans will mean not much of anything, huh? Make no mistake, Bishop, I believe you from the future. I just don't think you're from mine. You say you're from a dark place, tomorrow where no one knows how to dream or strive for a better way, where you don't even know what it is to mourn the passing of a precious. If I believe that was the face of tomorrow, then the rest of us and me would be fools to go on. And though the X-Men are a goodly number of things, son, we are nay fools. Great moment. Now, think about reading this back in the day. We have no idea what Generation X was. But I just love how Liddell's just building up how they're eventually going to bring in Skin and Chamber and Husk. Just a great little seed on top of some great dialogue between two characters with drastically opposing viewpoints to show why this is so important, which we open to this great splash page. Again, great artwork by John Romita Jr. The other artists I'm not as super familiar with, so I can't just call off. I know Romita's work when I see it. And of course, it's apt for Storm to give the eulogy. And it's hard. It's almost as hard as reading Uncanny X-Men. So I don't want to go all through it. But before they can have a moment, Peter tears into Xavier. Now, I remember when I was a kid, I said it like 8 or 9. I didn't quite comprehend the depths of Peter's hurting. He says, never once did I, he tries to, here's the scene. He goes, moment, son, I just want you to know how terribly sorry I am. Are you, sir? Why do I doubt that? Is it because I've had trouble believing anything you say? When you asked me to leave the collective, you said, and I remember the words if you said them only yesterday, power such as yours belongs to the world, Peter, to be used for the good of all. On nothing more than your word, I left my family, my life, and didn't look back. I thrilled to those words, Professor. They made me a part of a larger whole. Never once did I falter. Did I question the validity, the cost of your dream? No, Godspot and Xavier, I did not fail you. You and your dream failed me. Worse, it failed Ileana. And for that, I will never forgive you. And Cyclops, Peter, hold on, you're absolutely right, son. And before we can get any more of that, because you feel Peter's pain, Magneto crashes the party, so to speak. And this is his return, because at this point we see him return in X-Force 25, but I just love the grandiose way that he arrives here. Gorgeous, or keen artwork right there. This is the X-Men that I remember. Cyclops ready to battle. Everyone just wondering what the Master of Magnetism is. He says, I'm not here to quarrel. I'm here to offer you salvation. And of course, the Acolytes come, and this is something that I was not expecting. So, of course, Wolverine gets hit by Magneto's magnetic powers. We'll be thinking about that coming the next X-Men issue. Just keep that in mind. And Magneto's so powerful at this point is he's freezing everyone to the ground using the iron in there. Now, Savanka, or whatever his name is, he goes, my lord, words can't express the joys which swell in my heart, overflowing seeing you walk in our midst. I only hope you'll continue to allow me to serve you as I have in your absence. And of course, Pietro's there, and he goes, you did much more than serve, Acolyte. You engaged in the genetic cleansing of dozens of innocent people, sick and dying humans who were no threat to anyone. And those acts were committed in your name, Father. You are ultimately responsible for these heinous crimes. Now let's think about how he used his powers against the Yahtzees. He goes, crimes, my son. Is it a crime to put an animal out of its misery? What you witnessed was the tossing of the gauntlet, the first sign of mutants taking the initiative to free themselves from the humans' oppression at last. Had I not been in the Antarctic gathering my strength, renewing myself in body and soul, I would have been given my Acolytes my blessing. You're thinking, whoa, this is not the Magneto that we knew once he became head of the New Mutants. But I did not. And while your zeal is admirable, Sinyaka, order must be maintained. When the rivers of this planet roar with the blood of humans, and when the earth opens to swallow whole all those who oppose me, all this will be done in my word and mine alone, the word of Magneto. And so he takes Sinyaka's whips and crushes him alive. So we can see that Magneto is very much far gone from what we knew. Even though he says that it was tossing of the gauntlet too, again, it's just such an enigma to where he came from to what he's seeing now. His hatred has blinded him. And that's what I like here is it's on display. And I do like that we at least, even though it was gruesome, we do kind of get a moment to kind of go, and just let all that tension out, because Jubilee goes, you're like, oh, the guy with his own coils. We're talking about 4-star grossness. And so, unfortunately, a battle does ensue. Through sheer willpower, Magneto brings Avalon into Earth's atmosphere from space to show how powerful he has. And the dialogue, to me, feels truly Shakespearean. Do you truly believe you're attempting anything original, Magnus? Don't you realize there's a little difference between you and the same monsters responsible for the death of your parents and sister? Can't you see you've become that thing you hate the most in others? You do not compare me to any other human, Charles. I seek to rescue our. If others must suffer because of that, I am not responsible. So they try to do a mercy play to get Magneto. So everyone essentially gives Bishop all of their powers, because remember, he's like a living battery, sort of like Cortez. And Storm's like, Bishop, are you certain that you're up to this? What's your limit regarding the number of energy signatures that you can absorb at one time? Afraid to have it. You're going to have to find out together. And you just can again see the power that Bishop can harness. Rogue tries to, again, because of their time in the Savage Land, she tries to connect with him. And he grabs her and he goes, you actually managed to still a bit. The difference being it was not enough. As the lingering memories that float unbidden through your mind, at least for the moment, should reveal to you I am no longer the man I was. I am stronger than I've ever been, ever have imagined I would become. Still half my power, and I still have more than enough to eliminate anyone who seems to stop me from doing what I must to save our people. But thank you for the kiss. Now, again, if you've never read this, there's a spoiler coming up because Bishop unleashes all this power at Magneto. He was lost, and he says, "What does he say here?" Magneto says, "It'll be far shorter than forever, child. For within the hour there will be no X-Men, no humans to protect. There will be only a mass grave for which only a world of walking corpses shall mourn. Lofty ambitions, sir, though I'm afraid we're not without our own game plan. It's called surviving, Magneto. It's what we do. While this is going on," Peter says, "perhaps we owe it to those people, to ourselves, to find an alternative to that fate. I've known this man for years and witnessed the countless indignities heaped upon him, have been privy to every agonizing step of his struggle. A struggle which, as you pointed out, is similar to one of our own in context, if not in execution. Much like the professor, his commitment to his goal has never faltered. Perhaps, had I had the strength of conviction to join him earlier, fought more aggressively for the rights of mutants, I would not be here at the grave of my sister." And so with that, he joins the acolytes. Because I didn't understand the depths of Peter's hurt when I was a kid, I lost respect for Colossus for many years after this scene. I understand now, but it still hurts to see Peter smack Bishop in the back. But you can see all his friends, Kitty, Logan. Tell me someone's mind controlling him. For the first time in months, Logan, I feel I'm in control. I'm glad you were alive to witness this final humiliation, Charles. Perhaps, before you die, you will realize what I've always known, that the weak have naturally no chance of ever inheriting the earth. Weakness, Eric, has always been a matter of perspective. And so these two, gorgeous panel. For all your talk of ruling the world, you've lost sight of the reality that it is the world that has always ruled you in your youth. It took away the family which you were born. As a man, it robbed you of the family you created. You could have been a force for good in this world. And as your friend, maybe the only one you've ever allowed inside your heart, I can attest to the inherent goodness of the man you once were. But you lacked courage, Eric, the fortitude to rise above the challenges life set you. Instead, you became the angry, bitter man I see before me. Ugh. Don't you presume to pity me, Charles Xavier. He tries to say that this dream, we came up with it together. You're the one who abandoned it. Do you recall how one of us kept the promise we made to each other? The promise that our dream would survive. And again, these close-ups, I had to believe in you in order that I could believe in the dream to which we dedicated our lives. And you wasted your time, Charles. For the man who made that promise, the one who shared your hopes of a better world, hasn't existed in years, if he have ever existed at all. I refuse to accept that. I will not. If you will not take responsibility for yourself, Magneto, God help me. And so remember how at the beginning of this book it says that Xavier for years has held his powers back. Commandeering Magneto's powers with his own, these two men rise above the earth with Avalon in their psychic thrall. A genetic Cain and Abel, locked forever in an eternal conflict as old as the forces of good and evil. And whereas Magnus was often given to displaying his full range of his powers, Professor X was always less inclined. Until this moment, forgive me for what I'm about to do. And with that, Xavier magnetically hurls Avalon into space, lacking the courage, the resolve to take the life of the man who he knows will certainly return and once more threaten. These first, during the Fatal Attractions, these issues of Uncanny X-Men, from the death of Ileana to the court scene in 299 to the attack on the orphanage in 298, It is some heavy-handed reading. And that's why I say that these are comics are definitely our modern mythos. Think about it. Back in the day, people had. Of course, I'm recording this now, and I can't remember the characters. You know, you guys get it. Like the Greek gods were a lot of the examples of mythos from centuries past, and now we think about the type of characters that we have in modern day. And that's why I love these older issues because they read like something that could definitely be timeless. And that's why I hold on to these near and dear. The artwork, absolutely amazing, just helps enhance what we are feeling in this. So, guys, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, please first and foremost support your local comic shop or whatever it is like to get your action figures and comics and grab this series. This, the Executioner Song, The Age of Apocalypse, even Onslaught are X-Men events that you want to have in your collection if you are an X-Men fan and love good, solid storytelling and artwork. If you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate it if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little Avalon bell, next subscribe. That was where you can tip on content. You guys get notified. Come to the channel. And I love talking with you and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading and happy hunting.